This is the Pittsburg State Coaches Show, sponsored by Freeman Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Gorilla Country. Here are your hosts, PSU head football coach Brian Wright, Shay Schrader, and KODE Sports Director Max Preston.
Hello and welcome back to the Pittsburg State Coaches Show. With me is Max Preston and, of course, Pittsburg State head football coach Brian Wright. And it is a good day for Gorillas fans with the team coming off of a massive win over Northeastern State University. And, Coach, how are you feeling about this win?
Well, anytime you can go on the road in this conference and get a W is a feel-good moment. And it's good to see our guys come together, go on the road, prepare the night before. And I thought we did a good job and paying attention to the details in the meetings and walk through in the last part of that preparation, and then come out and play a solid football game.
So, Coach, you wake up and your team has won the game, and then the Browns get the victory as well this week. So how does that feel to, this Sunday?
Nothing better on a weekend than a Gorilla win and a Browns win.
Awesome. Well, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at these first half highlights from this game. We are over in Oklahoma for Saturday's matchup. Coach, you start with a defensive stop. Then you get on offense, Mac throwing to Jalen Martin for a nice gain, and then eventually Tyler Adkins here, he's going to get in on the touchdown for the score to open up the game. You guys open up the scoring. How nice is that to always get the first touchdown?
Yeah, really good start to the game. Good job by the defense, really getting a 3 and out there early on, and then getting the ball in good field position, and then capitalizing there with a score from Tyler.
Definitely, and then next defensive possession, Dallas Flowers here. He's been great this year. I believe he has 3 interceptions now on the season. Almost takes it the distance there. How big of a play was that point?
Yeah, he's been huge for us. 3 interceptions in 3 games. And makes a big one there early in the game. Again, great field position and, sets up this touchdown run here for Caleb Lewis.
Yeah, getting another score, Lewis in there. How really important is it to go up 2 scores? It's great to get the first touchdown, but when you can take a 2-possession lead, how important is that?
Yeah, I think it's big. We wanted a fast start in this game, as quick as we could get the bitter taste out of our mouth from the previous week, to just get out there, play football again, compete, have some success early in the game. I thought was really important for us.
Definitely. And I noticed next possession, you take, after a defensive stop, you take Mack out, and then you put Dotson in here. What was the idea behind that? Why did you want to put him in the game?
Well, Chad has done a great job for us now for really 2 years, and anytime we put somebody in the game, it's because they've earned it in practice, and Chad has really performed well in practice. Not the result we wanted there on that 3rd down on that interception. He was throwing to the right guy, just made the wrong throw.
Definitely, and then it turns around and the tide changes a little bit. They get a touchdown on this drive, but there were 2 penalties by the defense again. We kind of talked about this last week, roughing the passer again, which happened last week, and then you get a face mask. Did you have to have another penalty talk with your guys?
Yeah, those kill you, and the roughing the passer was a close call, and I even thought the face mask call was really a close call. Both not malicious, both were just aggressive plays defensively by Malik and Caden, and tough calls, and continued the drive, and as a result, Northeastern was able to capitalize here with a score, and we just felt like defensively we're going to have to do a better job of stopping the offense once they get the turnovers like they did against us. Both times we threw interceptions in this game, they scored off both those turnovers.
Yes, definitely. But, you turn it right around. They missed this field goal right here. Your defense starts making stops. Did you drive something into them after that score?
Well, I don't think that as the coaching staff we had to say a whole lot there. Those guys knew the adjustment to make and knew that they could play better defense there.
Definitely. And then you end the half with a solid drive here, as you can see, and you score the touchdown just before you go into the locker room. After, like we said, after the defense gives up that touchdown, to go back up by 2 scores, how important is that going into halftime?
Yeah, I thought our guys did a good job of putting a drive together and finishing it off here with a touchdown pass from Mack to Kaiser Newell. We had 13 players from Oklahoma playing in this game, and 3 guys from Oklahoma scored touchdowns, and Kaiser was one of those.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They had to have been really excited about that. So you go into halftime with a 20-6 lead, and one thing that was clear to me after this game, even after the first half, was the depth of reliable players that you guys have on your roster. Already you had Tyler Adkins getting in your offense, you had Caleb Lewis getting his feet wet, and then of course on the defense you have Dallas Flowers putting up his 3rd interception of the season. But knowing how many capable players you have at your disposal at this point in time, how do you gauge who you want in and who you want to be targeted at any specific juncture?
Well, our guys compete every day in practice, and that's why you have a depth chart. You have a 1 at a position and a 2, and our guys compete like crazy, and they understand that. And the guy that's the 1's going to have the first shot. But we had a lot of guys that maybe were a 2 or a 3 that had opportunities to play in this game, and not necessarily because of the score, but just because of depth and building a solid rotation that you need throughout the course of a game.
Definitely. Well, Shay, certainly a good first half for the Gorillas in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you could have asked for a better way to come back, especially after last week's loss. I mean, it was clear that they wanted to be out there, they wanted to play, and they wanted to get that win. So like Max said, clearly a successful first half, but they had an entire half ahead of them to show off what they could do. Coming up, we'll have a look at how things played out in the second half of the contest after the break. Stay with us.
It was real important, definitely off coming last week. It was kind of like a letdown. We started off fast last week, and then we just came up short a little bit. So this week, we just had to come out fast and get right to it just to get back in the win column.
That was Dallas Flowers talking about the win last night. Welcome back to the Pittsburg State Coaches Show. Of course, we just got done discussing the first half of the game against Northeastern State, but we have a whole other half ahead of us to get to. But first, I want to talk about halftime a little bit. Coach, last week we discussed when you went into halftime against Nebraska Kearney, you said that there were some things on offense and defense that you needed to clean up, but overall you just wanted to see them go out and have a very strong finish, which against Nebraska Kearney it fell short of. What do you think the difference was this week, and how do you think they were able to go out and get that strong finish?
Well, we talked about that early in the week, that when we go to halftime and when we go to make those adjustments, those come from the coaches and the players. And I think we were just so much more intentional there and understanding that, here were the couple things that we had to do a little bit better, even in the game the other night. And now it was the time to just go out and execute.
So, talking about things is great. Executing even better. Do you feel that when you have these discussions with your team, those hard conversations about when they fall short, that they really do take to heart the things that you say?
Well, I do. If it's intentional in the preparation, because you have to prepare to go out and perform, and our guys had to be in the right mindset at halftime to be able to go out and actually execute. And we had to have good preparation during the week, and I felt that we did that.
I think that showed in the second half.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got to take a look at those second half highlights. Let's see what ended up happening coming out of the gate. You really put together a solid drive. I mean, you score right away, but you see some young players on this drive make some plays. You get some guys in to play that don't really get much playing time usually. How cool was it to see these younger guys come in?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. The next guy's got to be ready to go. They got to know the game plan, and they got to be ready to get in there and do their job as well. And this first drive coming out of halftime, we really wanted to, emphasize the run game and clean up a few things from the first half in the run game that we felt like we didn't do. And so it was great to be able to punch it in there on the ground at the end there with Caleb Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis having a pretty good game. He had 2 scores. What are you liking about his game right now? How is he performing for you guys?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's seeing the hole, he's hitting it in a timely manner, and he's finishing runs as well. He's making some guys miss in spaces and running through some tackles. So he's done a great job of that, and probably most importantly, taking care of the football. Definitely.
And so it seemed like the trend of the second half was really just, score, stop. I mean, towards the end, the Riverhawks got another touchdown, but that was kind of late, garbage time. Just to see that trade-off, how great was that as a response to come out in the second half?
Yeah, really good. You want to play complementary football, and I felt that we did that, this part, of the football game better than we've done all year long. And great to see us be able to do that. Good to see Noah Hernandez score, from Jenks High School there in Oklahoma. He's done a great job for us and hasn't had as much time, and great to see him out there performing as well. Same with Ian Watts here. came in and did a great job at safety for us, replacing Brandon Malikas.
Definitely, yeah, 2 great plays you saw there. And you mentioned Hernandez a little bit, another guy that came in and scored. Just with your running game, how confident, can you really be with 3 or 4 guys that can run the ball?
Yeah, we feel like we've got a good stable of running backs there and guys that have worked extremely hard. They understand the offense, and we have a lot of faith in all those guys.
Definitely, and so there's a great touchdown right here. But with a game like this, you're ahead by a lot. There kind of was some chippiness kind of in the game, I believe. And really, what did that boil down to? Was the Riverhawks starting it a lot, and were your guys reacting the right way? What would you say about that?
Well, I thought we handled ourselves extremely well under the circumstances. It was getting a little bit chippy out there, and felt like a couple cheap shots at the end of some plays, and so we had to do a good job of making sure that we handled our emotions the right way and just played the game.
Definitely, and I remember at the end of the game, I was walking down the sideline, and I heard you say, make sure you put your helmets on, shake hands. We don't want to, be disrespectful. How awesome was it to see your guys just respond in the right way and just be respectful?
We have a great group of kids, and they know what right and wrong is, and they do a great job of that. And I had no worries that we were going to do the right things.
Well, final score, you guys come away with a 48-13 win. So clearly the offense in this game was explosive. There's no question about that. But we also have to talk about the noise that the defense made. They limited Northeastern to just 284 yards and 2 touchdowns the entire game. What do you think it is about this defense that is clicking so well?
Well, I think first of all, they're playing really hard, and they're playing together. They're understanding their assignments, and defense is about knowing where your help is, and you have to stay in a certain gap and know that you got your teammate in the other gap there, and once a guy jumps out of that gap, then we have issues on defense. But our guys are playing good assignment sound football.
Definitely. And so, after a loss at home, to go on the road and win by that margin, just a very sound win, how great was it to see that?
Yeah, it's good. You don't have, a whole bunch of time in a college football season to sit and think about a loss or a win. You got to get ready for the next opponent, and our guys did that, and we have to do the same thing this week.
Definitely. Shay, another great performance for the Gorillas.
Yeah, absolutely. This was definitely a fun one. We had lots of great highlights from the game, no question about that. But coming up, we'll have a look at our pick for play of the game, plus a look at stat leaders. Stay with us.
It definitely feels good to get back on top. It was rough last week. We had a good week of practice this week, and to be able to pull it off felt really nice.
It's nice. I mean, we had that bitter taste in our mouth all this week, and it's good to come out here and perform well.
That was Kaiser Newell and Max Sexton talking about the win over Northeastern State, and I concur with them. I think it was nice. They both said that, and I would agree. Welcome back to the Pittsburg State Coaches Show. We've seen a lot of great highlights on both sides of the ball, but there can only be one play of the game, so let's go ahead and take a look at our pick for top play here at KODE.
All right, here we go. Max Sexton to Peyton Bowens. Watch him go. He's going to make several defenders miss on this play. Ends up being about a 20-yard gain, I believe, 25-yard gain. Let's take a closer look at it. Just a beautiful pass from Mac. Cuts across the field, just shaking so many defenders. How do you like Bowens out here, Coach? How is he performing for you guys?
Well, it was good to see him out there. He hasn't played for us a whole bunch yet, and it was good to get him out there and get some game experience. He's an explosive player. He catches the ball well, and always exciting to see him run with it after he catches it. We just got to get him to hand it to the official after he finishes these runs. If it was going to be my play of the day.
Yeah.
He didn't, score, but I mean, he's making some athletic moves, so really good to see that kind of play from your guys.
Now, if you did have to pick your own play of the game, what would it be?
Oh, it usually is victory formation, but being able to
Coach's favorite play for sure.
Right, yeah. It would be hard to pick just one. Like I said, I was really excited to see some of our Oklahoma guys perform well in that game, to see Tyler Atkins score, to see Noah Hernandez get in the end zone, Kaiser, and then also, some of our guys up front. I thought were running the ball like we'd like to be able to run the football, and to watch our offensive line produce like they did was exciting to me as well.
Absolutely. I already kind of mentioned it, but I talked to your starters after the game, and I was like, you guys basically got to watch the game in the second half. How great is it when you can play a game and get your backups in there, get some time?
Well, yeah, it's great for those young guys to get some extra minutes in there and get some game experience, because they need that. And it's certainly fun on the sideline when the leaders of your team or the guys that play quite a bit for you are cheering on their teammates that are out there making plays.
Definitely.
Well, it's hard to talk about the play of the game without talking about the players that actually played the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stat leaders from this week. Of course, Max Sexton, he made 16 of 19 passes, 2 TD passes for 182 yards. No surprise there.
Yeah, Mac played well in this game. I thought he threw the ball consistently and really got it out of his hand on time, something we talked about this whole week.
And then we have Caleb Lewis. He had 2 touchdowns and 40 yards. And he obviously made some noise. I believe there was 5 touchdowns in the game. He accounted for 2 of them. So what are you liking from him?
Well, just his consistency right now. He's performed in all 3 football games for us at a high level, and we expect big things from him moving forward.
And then on the defensive side, we had 3 guys making 5 tackles, and then we had 2 interceptions, Dallas Flowers and Ian Watson. I know we touched a little bit on the defense earlier, but what do you think about the turnovers that they're able to force and able to create?
Well, they're so critical in the game, and it's really the first statistic that we look at is the turnover margin. And teams that win championships have defenses that get the football back quite often. And that excites me to see our defense swarming to the football and creating turnovers like they are.
It's fun to watch too. I will say that.
Yeah.
Now, one stat that did catch my eye, and not to take away from this amazing win, that on 3rd down conversions, you guys were 4 of 10. So that's less than 50%. What do you think was going on there?
Well, a couple times we got into 3rd and long, and that makes it a harder situation to get. And we had a couple different things. We tried to run the ball on one and didn't get it, and we got a little bit of pressure on the quarterback a couple times, and so we got to clean a couple things up there. And also on some of those, we went for it on 4th down, and we were able to get 2 out of those 3. So we actually count the 3rd and the 4th down conversions, but we were still shy of the 50%. We need to be well over 50% to be successful.
Definitely. And Coach, when you see, I kind of want to go back to your players playing in the second half. Did you see any guys from this game that you think could have maybe a job going forward, a bigger role, I guess I should say, like maybe more playing time?
I think that we probably have a couple of wide receivers that stepped in there and did a little bit more, and we're getting a lot more now from Bryce Murphy coming off of an injury, and he was out quite a bit. And Bryce is a starter for us, but I'm excited to see him in there and see Peyton continue to develop at wide receiver. And we're already playing a lot of tight ends on offense as well. And so, I think we'll continue to see all those tight ends and running backs. And I think even what excites me the most is seeing a lot of the different faces on defense, because we're really going to need a lot of depth defensively as we move forward.
We have a lot of interest in the defense too. I mean, Southeast Kansas guys, they pretty much run it. I think it was Caden Roy was talking about that earlier in the season. And so just from a coverage perspective, we love seeing those guys that we followed throughout high school making noise on the field. So go defense, I guess is all I'm saying. We've had a look at play of the game and stat leaders, but there's still another game on the horizon. A look at what the Gorillas will be up against this Saturday after the break. Welcome back to the Pittsburg State Coaches Show. The Gorillas, they rounded out week 3 with another win on the books and some impressive stats as well. But the question now is how to keep that momentum rolling into Saturday's game against Emporia State. And I think we can all agree they're going to be a very formidable opponent for you guys. Oh, yeah. They're a great football team. And, anytime somebody comes into Kearney Smith Stadium, we get their best effort. And, we have got to have a better week, and we're going to play even better than what we did this past game. Coach, I ask you this every week, but I know you want to celebrate a win, you want to celebrate a game performance like that, but have you already moved on? Are you already sending the game plans and guys taking a look at Emporia? Oh yeah, we're already looking at game film on Emporia and sending out cut-ups to the players to watch. It's time to move on and move forward and get ready to, like you guys said, put good back-to-back performances together. No, I think it's safe to say that Emporia is definitely going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder this weekend. In their game against Western on Saturday, they went into halftime with a 28-7 lead. Western managed to come back. Emporia scored a touchdown, I believe, with maybe a little over a minute left. Had the opportunity to win on a 2-point conversion. It was called back just short of the goal line, and they lost by 1 point. So first loss on the season. I think they're going to be a little bit angry on Saturday.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll get their best effort, I'm sure, and you know, we're worried about us and what we need to do to play our best football as well. It's a game of inches, and every week you're fighting for those inches, for those W's.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of their players that we want to keep an eye on our side. First up, we have Brandon Gleeson. He is a redshirt sophomore under center at quarterback for the Hornets. He's proven that he can go airborne and to the ground game just fine, so he's a little bit of a double threat there. And then my personal favorite on the roster, we talked about this in the break, is Tommy Zimmerman. This guy, he's a triple threat on offense. He plays at what Emporia calls stinger back, or S-back, which acts as a fullback, tight end, and slot receiver all at once. So versatility is the name of the game here. And I've never heard of this position. I'm not afraid to admit that. You told me that sometimes it's called an H-back. Is that what you said? Do you play against this very often? Is that a common position?
Yeah, almost every week. And we have them. We call them an F or an H-back. So the guys are going to get on me for a lack of creativity if we don't come up with some special name for our F or H-back.
Maybe you should. It is an eye catcher on the roster. I'll tell you that. That got my attention a little bit. And then we have Cade Harrelson, the linebacker. He had 15 tackles against Western. So that's definitely someone to keep an eye on. But do you feel that your offensive line is going to be strong enough, to hold up against this? I mean, they have some pretty big guys, but you guys have also proven in weeks past that you can keep guys away from the quarterback.
Yeah, I like where we're at up front, our offensive line, and I like the continuity that we have there. And we got to continue to get better. And I think Emporia is really good up front. Just from the film we've watched so far to this point, they're really physical. They're strong. Those guys up front do a great job for them. And then they've got a couple linebackers back there that I've been really impressed with, just how they run and get to the football and tackle the ball carriers.
So just for the team this week, as you go into practice, what's the message, after this win? What do you want to see them do this week in practice? Just simply have a good practice, or are there things you want to work on before you go into this game?
Well, first and foremost is to work on being 1-0 for the week. And like we talked about last week, and that's in everything that we do. There's some things I feel like offensively and defensively, some details there that we certainly got to work on come Tuesday's practice.
Now, you guys are going to be back in the jungle for this one. Chance to get your first win at home. When you're playing an opponent that's this evenly matched with you, or that's going to be this tough, how important is it going to be to have that home crowd there to support?
Oh, I think it's really important. I know our guys feed off of that. They feed off that energy and that noise in the stadium, and we need them all to turn out.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will. They always do.
They definitely do. It'll be a good one in the jungle for sure. I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
Yeah, we are definitely excited about this. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us again this week. We really appreciate it. And of course, we are looking so forward to that game against Emporia State. To all you at home, thank you so much for joining us for another week of the Pittsburg State Coaches Show. For Max Preston, I'm Shay Schrader, and we will see you right here next week.
This has been the Pittsburg State Coaches Show. Sponsored by Freeman Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Gorilla Country.